Hi guys, welcome to another video. Today I want to talk about something that's been on my mind quite a lot in the past few days, and that is Freelee the Banana Girl's recent highly controversial videos. Um, I don't want to make this video to talk about Freelee or bash her opinions or anything. Because I watched those videos and I was honestly quite shocked, and I just want to basically give my own opinion about what she was talking about. Um, so for those of you who haven't watched the videos, she made, I think, one or two, or was it three videos or something like that. In the first one, it went sort of along the lines of if you know about how animals are being treated and you're still not going vegan, then you don't deserve to live on this planet because you're basically a bad person. That was the message that I gathered from that. And while I understand where she's coming from, I've got a bit of a different opinion on that. Um, and the second video that she made was basically titled "Why I'm Superior to You," something along those lines. And she was basically saying that people who are vegan, especially for ethical reasons, are morally and ethically and just generally superior to meat eaters and basically non-vegans. Um, and that also shocked me quite a bit. So, and basically, the reason why I disagree with these viewpoints is because how can you say that someone doesn't deserve to live on this planet just because they've made a certain choice in life, or because they failed to make a certain choice in life, um, that's just, I don't know. I mean, for me, veganism is about compassion. It's about realizing that everything is connected, and that um, you don't want to cause suffering to anyone or anything, including animals. So you basically realize, okay, there's no difference between your pet dog or your pet cat or your pet horse and cows and chickens and fish that are being slaughtered. It's basically making that connection and realizing, okay, everything's connected, everything is the same. There's no such thing as humans being superior to animals, or I don't know, dogs being superior to cows or chickens or whatever. It's basically realizing that. And one thing that I've sort of noticed is that, like, because a lot of people say, oh, vegans are so, like, they always want to convert everyone and they're always preaching and they're always feeling so superior. And I think it's so sad that people actually have this idea, because I've noticed, like, I know a lot of people who've been vegan for many years, and some of them are really like, okay, cool, so they care so much about the animals and the planet and everything, but then they become so aggressive towards their fellow human beings. And I find that so ridiculous. It's completely missing the point of compassion and everything being the same and no one being better than anyone else. It's really that no one is better than anyone else, and just because you're vegan doesn't mean you're morally superior to anyone else. You can be a vegan and still be a total asshole. Just because you don't eat meat and eggs and dairy or honey, and you don't wear leather shoes and don't use animal tested makeup or whatever, doesn't make you any better than anyone else. You're still just you still have your your very human failures, basically. And that was just what made me so sad to Freely. I mean, I used to watch her a lot. She was actually one of the people who really got me into the high carb lifestyle, and I loved watching her videos because she was really sweet, and then she would do her vlogs, and it was really cool to see whatever she was doing. And it was so inspiring to see, okay, wow, this chick really carbs the fuck up like no one else, and it was so awesome to watch. But at some point I honestly just had to unfollow her because I couldn't deal with her, just this feeling that I got, that she feels exactly what she's doing is the only right way to do it, and whoever doesn't do it is a bad person, in basically her own words. And so I actually unfollowed her quite a while ago. And I mean, just, I don't know. I'm still a bit shocked. But I mean, basically, what I want to tell you is, no one is better than anyone else just because they eat a different diet. We're all at different points in our lives. And for me, it took a long time to actually fully commit to, okay, no more meat, no more this, no more that. And I mean, I still have a pair of leather boots that I bought 5 years ago, but they just won't break because they could, like, they're really well made, so they're just not breaking. I'm not going to throw them away because that would be even more of a waste, you know. And I still have makeup that's probably animal tested, and if I buy new makeup, sure, then I'll have a closer look, but I've still got it from before I stopped eating meat and animal products. So I'm not going to throw it away just because now it's like a bad product. Um, and everyone's at a different point in their journeys. It might take maybe someone watches one of Freelee's or Fully Raw Christina's or whoever's videos, and it takes them years to actually come back to that and be like, oh, hey, there was this chick eating really abundantly, and that's really cool, and I also want that for my life. It might take them years, but just because, like, from knowing to actually doing, that can take a whole long time depending on your own journey, because everyone has so many different things influencing them. And you can't just automatically say, okay, well, here, I've made you watch Earthlings, now you know what it's about, now either you go vegan or you're a bad person because you know what it's about. But that's not what it's about, because you don't, just because you see it doesn't mean you've really internalized it, I suppose, because it takes a while to actually, first of all, assimilate the knowledge, and also to make that emotional connection, because you have to feel basically a part of the suffering. And if you're like, okay, well, there's suffering over there, but I'm over here and I'm still doing okay, then you're not going to make that connection. So usually, I mean, a lot of people that I've met that have gone vegan and gone high carb vegan, especially, have come, for example, from eating disorders or from depression or from major chronic illnesses, and that is obviously a great suffering factor, so to speak, that motivates them to go vegan. So either you have that personal internal suffering of you being very sick or in a really bad space in your life with depression or something like that, or you have that external basically, because everything is connected anyways, so it's not really external, but we perceive it as external. So you have that external factor of the animal suffering, and you don't want to be a part of that anymore because it makes you suffer too emotionally. So that's like sort of the two major ways in which you'll make a connection, either through your own suffering or through someone else's. And that's why, just by telling people, like, oh, and I feel so good and I overcame depression and this and that, someone who's in relatively good health is going to be like, well, that's nice for you, but I don't think I need this in my life at the moment. They don't have that extreme motivating factor. And you will really, like, everything in life is about contrast. You'll need to feel really bad in order to want to feel really good. If you're doing okay, you'll be fine with just okay, because then you're in your comfort zone, and no one ever wants to leave their comfort zone until it gets really uncomfortable. And then even then we still feel like horrible when we're forced to leave our comfort zone. So that's why, like, being like a missionary and like trying to convert people, that's why it just doesn't work, because if people aren't at that suffering point, then, well, it's just not going to happen. So really the only thing you can do is live by a positive example, and even then it will take people a while to realize. Like my family and my friends, a lot of them, I've, over the past year, I feel like I have changed quite a lot, especially in my health and my vitality, and just the way I see the world and the way I step up to meet the world, basically. And I've changed a lot in that way, but still the people around me are like, very slowly they're starting to be like, okay, cool, that's really cool, and they start to ask me for advice and stuff like that. It's not an overnight thing, and even going vegan, it can be an overnight thing, if you're really in that intense space of suffering. But if you're doing like semi-okay, going towards the deep end, basically, then even then it'll be a step-by-step process. Maybe first you leave out the meat, and then you say, okay, well, within the next 6 months I also want to, like, get rid of the dairy, or and you're like, okay, cool, like I'm actually going to focus on like animal tested products and actually not use those anymore, or I'm not going to wear any more leather products. So you do step by step. You can't do everything overnight. That's ridiculous. It's oh, okay, sure, it's so much work. If you're prepared to do the work, go for it. But it's such a big emotional thing. Most people aren't able to handle that amount of emotional cleansing and letting go in one go. It's really really intense, and I mean, some people just don't realize that it really is difficult to let go of these things. And I mean, sure, I also speak from my own experience, but also just like, I mean, there's been studies done on the way that meat and animal products actually have addictive compounds in them, and the way that food can be an addiction. And it is, I mean, you can't tell an alcoholic uh, to leave the bottle by the wayside just overnight. That doesn't happen. The same thing goes for like really heavy meat eaters, or uh, like just people who are maybe vegetarian and just cannot let go of the cheese, because yes, the animals, but oh my god, I love cheese. That's an intense emotional connection. You can't just flip your emotions. You can't just be like, okay, well, today I'm like this, and then today I'm just going to have completely different emotions. You can't do that. That's just not the way it works. You have to work on it. And then maybe you'll be eating less dairy and less dairy and less dairy, and then maybe one day you'll just be like, okay, you know what, I'm ready, no more dairy. But it's a process. So, as for people who know the facts, so to speak, and know about the suffering that goes on in animal product industries, yeah, sure, they know, but do they really like know it emotionally? And even from there, it's a long process. And that whole thing about, if you're not a vegan, like, then you don't deserve to live on this planet. That's the reason it shocked me, is because really, like I said already, for me, veganism is about compassion. And if you're being compassionate towards animals, but you're not being compassionate towards your fellow human beings and trying to understand and accept their journeys and where they're at, and accept them for who they are, meat eating and everything included, then that's not very vegan, in my opinion, because you're kind of lacking in the compassion department. Maybe you're giving it all to the animals. That's lovely, but I don't think compassion is something you give it all away and then there's none left. Either you have that compassion or you don't. Otherwise, that's just, I don't know, it's just lacking somewhere. And that's just that's just what shocked me about Freelee's videos. Um, so yeah, I think I'm done with my little rant now for today. A bit of a depressing topic really today, actually. Yeah. So my message for you today is, if you're going to be compassionate, don't leave certain people or things out of the equation. And if animals have the same rights as humans, great. But then that doesn't make some humans have less rights than others. That's just hypocritical and going completely against the idea or philosophy, for me, of what veganism is. So, practice compassion in all aspects of your life. And really, I see everything as connected. Everything is one. And the reason that I don't want to eat meat and animal products is because I believe that if I cause suffering to something else, I cause suffering to myself, because I'm connected with it. So that's why I don't eat meat, because by eating meat, I would be causing suffering ultimately to myself, and I don't want that. But the same thing goes for not extending compassion to someone else, because we're all one. But then again, we're also all the universe experience, like just subjectively experiencing itself, and it's all about expansion. So maybe the universe needs some people eating meat in order to experience every single aspect of its infinite self. So there's obviously the good aspects and the bad aspects, and in the end, it's all about experience, and it's all about learning. And the more different ways of learning we have and go through, the bigger the expansion of the universe. Yeah, so be compassionate, and don't exclude people from your compassion, and just live by example. Love your life, do what you love yourself most importantly, because that's where it all starts. And everything that you do in self-love is something that will further everything good in the universe. So love yourself, be compassionate, and tell me in the comments below, please, what you thought of this video, and also what you think of the topics that Freelee discussed in her videos. I'm really curious to hear your opinion about the whole who deserves to live kind of question. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye guys.